So the NBA is completely sleeping on the Milwaukee Bucks. And that's probably the worst thing that they can do. I want to dive into that in this video. But first, if you or someone you know is struggling with their mental health and is in need of support or care, go to Bridges and Stones and receive your free consultation today. Remember, one small act can create a better tomorrow. You know, the reason why I want to do this video is not necessarily because, I think people really forgot how great Giannis is or Damian Lillard are. But I think the NBA, in terms of its mainstream media, oftentimes gets caught up in what storylines can create the most media buzz. And Milwaukee being a small market, you know, there's not a lot of incentive to do so unless they force your hand to do so. But when I look at a lot of the projections and outlooks of what this upcoming season can be or should be, I realize that they have completely just left them off the table. You know, it's almost like going to Thanksgiving dinner and then you see the yams and you just go, let me just focus on this potato salad. And it's not that the potato salad's not good. It's not that the greens aren't smacking. It's not that the macaroni and cheese is not amazing. But there's something about the yams that brings it all together. It just hits. And for you to overlook the yams, I'm questioning, do you really understand what this is? When you come to this table and you go and you serve yourself, you do realize this could end up being the best dish on the table. It has that type of weight, that type of swing. And when you look at the Milwaukee Bucks and who they have been over the years, you have to understand they were a top team in the Eastern Conference before they won their NBA championship. And each subsequent year, even if they fell short, they were still one of the top 3 seeds in the Eastern Conference. They were still one of the best teams in the NBA. Even last season, as they fell short of expectations tremendously, mostly due to the injury to their best player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they were a first-round exit and they were a number 2 seed for the entire season up until that injury. What does that tell you? Even when this team struggles, they're still great. Even when things seem to be falling apart and they haven't been able to figure it out and they got the wrong coach and everything you could want to go wrong goes wrong, they still make the playoffs. So what happens if they actually put it together? What happens if Giannis is actually healthy going into the playoffs? Damian Lillard is healthy going into the playoffs. What happens if they actually figure out how to maximize that pick and roll? What happens if they actually get their defensive scheme together and the new acquisitions in the offseason, Taurean Prince and Gary Trent Jr. and DeLon Wright, actually make that defensive impact on the perimeter? And what happens if some of these young guys and Andre Jackson and Marjon Beauchamp actually take that next step in their sophomore seasons? What happens when the Milwaukee Bucks put it all together? Who can you say definitively they cannot beat? That they cannot beat. Look, we know who Dame is, who he's been his entire career. We know who Giannis Antetokounmpo is, who he's been his entire career. Now, if you're betting on Giannis staying injured and you're betting on Damian Lillard not being able to shoot the ball well and maintaining his worst shooting percentage of his career from last season, if you're betting on no development and no cohesiveness and cohesion with the veteran coach now with Doc Rivers, if you're betting on no improvement and nothing changing from the end of last season, then sure, I can understand why you wouldn't notice them. If you're betting on Aunt so-and-so who messed up the yams, who tried a new recipe last year and put some wild, crazy shit in it, and all of a sudden nobody liked it. If you're betting on nothing changing, I understand. But if you look at what this has always been, a league that's built around stars and having elite talent, who are you pointing to in that Eastern Conference that is definitively better than Giannis Antetokounmpo when he's healthy? Who? Who are you betting on in the playoffs? Because, some of y'all might point out Joel Embiid, who won MVP a couple seasons ago, but in the playoffs, The man that's underwhelmed every single time, that's underwhelming in the Olympic qualifier, friendly round. The man who didn't want to go and play for his home country where he would have to be that dude and have it all centered around him and all the pressure and all the eyes and all the lights on him. The guy who allows everyone else to kind of take the blame and still uses the regular season to get himself into playing shape, right? The guy, that's the guy that's supposed to be better. I know Brunson had a great year last year. Don't compare him to Giannis. I wouldn't even compare him to Damian Lillard. Look, one great season does not negate a guy who's been great since he came into the league as a rookie. Now, I know Brunson's a lot younger, but the playoff schedule, being able to take your time and have breaks in between games, only lends that much more towards the veteran. You see, when you look at this Milwaukee Bucks team, I'm not even talking about Chris Middleton, who's been the fringe all-star most of his career and an all-star one time. I'm not even talking about Brook Lopez, who at 7'2" is a devastating long-range shooter who can also post up just about anybody and finish over both shoulders and defend the rim and block shots. And Bobby Portis, who's always a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. Right? I'm not talking about the team that's already been to the mountaintop and won it, who knows how to do it, and has the co-star in Damian Lillard who is hungry as hell to do it. Gary Trent Jr., who's played with Damian Lillard, should bring in some continuity and some chemistry in that backcourt and could be that point of attack defender looking to prove himself as he looks to get paid next summer. If you're telling me that none of these guys are going to be what we would have thought they were, even if they had a letdown season last year, if you're telling me that you don't believe that anything's going to change for the better, then go ahead. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're doing so at your own risk. Because they're my dark horse to win the NBA championship. Straight up. Straight up. I don't really see too many people in the playoffs who are going to be able to mess with them. If they're healthy, if Doc Rivers gets them to at least a solid baseline of what a playoff team should be on defense and offense, gets that pick and roll running, if these young guys step up, they're going to be one of the best teams in the NBA. Because remember last season, even when everything seemed to be going wrong, they were still one of the best teams in the NBA. But as always, I want to know what you all think. If you think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be right back at the top, holler at me in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and definitely drop this video in your group chat so you can get at me in the comment sections, and I'm going to get back at you. I'm going to get at y'all next time. Peace.